Yo, what's up, ladies and gentlemen? Good to see you again. We've got PLuffy versus Whitebeard here, playing up against my man Tyler. He was actually the one that gave me the inspiration of using wire in this list and trying that out for a little bit. I think we played a match about a week or two ago of I was playing Sakazuki and he was playing PLuffy, and sadly I didn't get the game recorded, but he ended up taking the dub on me and ended up using wire, and it was a card that I was not expecting, and it got a lot of cycle as well as draw power, and so I took a little bit of inspiration from him, and I'm looking for some revenge right now. I'm trying to get that sweet revenge. But for his turn one, he is going to get down Nami and ends up bottom decking two of his rush aces right there, but does find the 4-cost Frankie. Always good to have those vanillas in this list. And then he uses the in 2 years. I was expecting to for him to pick up a 2k counter here and, you know, just buff up some of the counter power in hand, and he does look like he's going to take that 2k, but then ends up just considering a different route and takes the 6k rush Sanji here from starter deck 10. He will just go ahead and pass, taking that life as well. And now I would have absolutely loved to played this correctly, but I ended up making a pretty grave mistake here. I ended up using my leader effect to draw a card, and then I end up using the page 1 ulti combo, and this was pretty rough for me because that was one of the few 2k counters that I saw throughout the game, and I didn't realize that that was going to be the case. But yeah, we ended up ditching both of our 2k counters here, one to play onto the field and then one in the trash. And I wish that I had just went for maybe a 4-cost vanilla and saved that counter power, but lesson learned, unfortunately. And now with 5 Dawn, I would have loved to have gotten down just a 4k vanilla and then been able to ramp up and play Poly, but sadly I had not drawn into Poly at this point in the game. So had I not subtracted with ulti and had Poly in hand, this would have been a really good turn for me to ramp up and then also KO the Frankie. Would have been a massive gain for me, but unfortunately not at this point. I'm just going to go 6k and 6k. He does take both, and I'll go ahead and play the bins. Now, I do not know this matchup very well because I just hadn't played against Newgate using PLuffy. So at this point, I'm just kind of winging it. And I was telling him that. I was like, yeah, I'm just kind of winging it, seeing how it goes. And, you know, seeing where we can go from here. He is going to be at 6 Dawn this turn, though. So Frankie as well as Newgate might just attack into life. And with my lack of 2k counters in hand, I might just have to take this, unfortunately. It really just depends on how it goes, but as much as I'd love to keep the life high and then be able to play down that 9-cost Kaido the following turn, it does present a bit of an issue for me. Oh, actually, I don't think I could play it down the following turn because I didn't ramp this turn, actually. So, yeah, we'll see a 5k going to life here. I will just 1k counter out with bins, and now a 6k to life. I'm just going to go ahead and take no trigger on that, but another 6k does put me in a bit of a position. And if I remember correctly, I did draw into the Poly like just now off of life, and I'm like, oh man, come on. But a 6k swing. I have no 2k counters in hand. I'm taking my time, which I feel like is giving my opponent just a little bit too much information. If I had a 2k counter, I would just get out of it, but sadly I do not. So I ended up kind of like baiting as though I did have a 2k counter, and then I decided to take the life. But he puts down a really interesting card here, Limb, and I had forgotten that this card was even in the card pool. But this was blocker on, I think it's on opponent's, it's either on opponent's attack or on KO or something like that. Give a character minus 2,000 power. I could be wrong about that, but I just remember that I was looking at it like, oh, snap. All right. I was kind of not aware that that card even existed, if I'm being honest. Kind of forgot about it. Yeah, going up to 8, or no, this would be 7 Dawn now. 7 Dawn now, I can use my Poly and ramp one, but I'm only really going to be able to get rid of the Nami as well as the Frankie. And I know that I want to try and get some cards out of hand, so I'm just kind of considering how I want to go about it. But maybe just swinging a few 6K swings into Frankie, because he does have like 10 to 11 cards in hand at the moment. Trying to get some out of hand. I'm just going to go ahead and hit him with the 6 here. And I believe he is just going to counter out of that. Yep, using another Frankie. Finally get the first card out of hand. And now I'll go 5, I think, into the Nami. And now 6 again into Frankie. And I'll probably then end up playing the Poly and just ramping 1 Dawn for my leader, and then just attacking life for 6. Unfortunately, though, if I do that, it's since he's at his last life, I'm basically just giving it to him for free. But so that's why I just decided to pass here, because I know that he's going to have to take this life regardless, being at 8 Dawn. It doesn't make sense to just give it to him for free. It might just give him more options and you know, potential nuisance for me on the board, like a 7 cost rush ace or something. I'm like, yeah, I'll just wait. I'll be patient here. But he knows that since I haven't countered out of a lot of these attacks, being at 2 life, it is going to be pretty simple for him to just, you know, attack into life and get me to a point where I'm probably going to end up being KO'd the following turn. If I remember correctly, 5 cost rush Luffy ends up being quite a bit of a nuisance here. I feel like Luffy comes down and I end up having to take this hit, but we'll see 6K into life. And now I still don't have 2K counters in hand. This was one of those matches where playing ulti I thought was cool, but it was not. But I'm giving him just a little too much information here by taking that 6K swing, putting down Luffy, probably just a 7K, and then leaving 2 up for protecting life, as well as me having to get through Limb. You know, the blocker is pretty annoying in this situation as well. It does, you know, it might not be doing the most, but it's doing its job, that's for sure. He goes ahead and takes that last life, and now I have, I believe, 10 Dawn this turn. But I am struggling. Trying to figure it out, but with the cards I have on board, obviously I can get some cards out of hand, but we have absolutely no counter whatsoever in hand. I have a few blockers, but that's really just kind of banking on the fact that, you know, hey, does he not have enough swings the following turn to just go ahead and KO me regardless? I gotta remove this Luffy off the board, but I can't simultaneously do that while also having blockers. So I'm just gonna go 6 into the Luffy. I think that at the end of the day, the way that I played this doesn't really work out too well for me. I'm just gonna attack 6 multiple times. It does force out a lot of counter power from hand at least. If I had used the 9 cost Kaido, it does force him to have another rush card in hand, but I know that he already had the 6K or the 6K Sanji. He does counter out with it here though. But I mean, just with the sheer amount of cards he has in hand, it's like so hard to believe that he wouldn't have another rush Luffy or an ace or something like that. So I'm just going to continuously attack it until I get all of the cards that I can possibly get out of hand. And now I'm just going to play down 2 blockers, I believe, for 8 Dawn. I just get down the Wire and the Useless Captain Kid. So I'll go ahead and lift the ulti here. And I'll play down Wire and I'll play down Useless Captain Kid. Hoping for the best, expecting the worst though. Now that he's got the rush to get through for that last life, he's, you know, potentially got another 5K 5-cost Luffy to go through as well. And now I know that he's feeling pretty confident about that. So we'll see if 5k Luffy, attach the rest, swing 9. I'm like, yeah, I got nothing, dude. I got nothing. I got a absolutely handful of nothing. But solid match all around. Just felt like, man, if I had seen that poly in my starting hand, I think it would have definitely changed up a little bit. Missing a lot of the 2k counters obviously hurts, but that poly just being able to ramp into getting 10 cost Kaido down would have been absolutely massive for me. And I think that maybe, you know, next time, just learning from the fact of playing the ulti into page 1 here was not really the play for me. It just kind of ended up being a loss of a 2k counter, and I still would have established, you know, a really nice 6k body onto the board and would have been able to do the same the following turn. But you live and you learn, and I always love these matches when I do get a little bit of a introspective look onto some of the plays. But I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll catch y'all on the next one. All right, peace.